In this video, we're going to review some of the common Maven commands. And up here, I have a cheat sheet. I'm going to include this. This is a PDF that's available from Rebel Labs. And I was going to actually write one up myself and provide it in the course resources. But this does a great job, and no need to not give these guys a little plug in the course. Rebel Labs, they're the producers of JRebel. They actually do some interesting research in the industry. They have some interesting state of the industry reports that come out every year that shows you who's using what major projects are being used, what's popular in the Java community. So they definitely have a good ear to the ground with the Java community. This Maven cheat sheet, this is a PDF that you'll be able to download from the course resources. It does a real nice job of summarizing some of the Maven commands. And what I'm going to do is jump over to the command line and go through an example of some of the Maven commands and talk about some of the things that we've been talking about within the module that we are in right now, looking at all the Maven plugins. So I'm back in our Hello World Maven program, that little Maven project that we have. You can see I'm right in the root folder of Hello World, and I'm just going to do a clear here. So remember, we can do Maven clean, which is going to run the clean plugin. So that is the clean lifecycle, and it only has one goal in it, that is to run the clean program, or plugin, I should say. And I'm going to do a clear to clear the screen. And I could do the same thing by doing Maven clean : clean. And what this syntax is doing is saying Maven run the plugin, the clean plugin, and run the goal of clean on that plugin. So I'm not using the build lifecycle in this case. I'm actually calling the plugin directly. So we can see it effectively does the same thing. Now I can also do Maven, and let's just do validate. And validate goes in and verifies that the project is proper. And we can see that it does talk about some warnings here. So we can see that it's complaining about the plugin versions for the Maven jar and clean plugin. So these are just warnings. Obviously, we can go back and add in the versions. Sometimes a good habit to do that. And we will see that does cause some problems where we don't have those versions there. But we can see that the verify does work. I can also do Maven test. So now the test is going to run my unit test, but we can see as well, if I scroll up here, we can see that it also runs the compiler plugin, it runs the resources plugin, it runs test compile, and then runs test. So whenever in that we went into the default build lifecycle and we ran the phase of test, so all the phases prior to test are going to get run for us. So that's why that happened. Now we can also combine lifecycles. We can do Maven clean test like so. And what this is going to do, if we looked at the output before, Maven clean did not run because that's part of the clean lifecycle and not the default lifecycle. So we combine those goals together. And we can also do, if I do an ls, we can see that I have the target directory there. Maven clean, that's going to remove the target directory. And now if I do a Maven install, now what the Maven install command does, that's running the build lifecycle phase of install. And that actually, you can see here on this line here, that built the project and it installed that artifact into my local M2 repository. So you can see here, this path here, users JT, that is my home directory for my user account. So on my operating system, my account name is JT. And then under a user home, we have M2 repository. And you can see here, it published the jar and the POM up to my own local repository. So using the install is a good way to install artifacts into your own local repository. Then we can also do Maven dependency : tree. And this is a very important one, dependency tree. I just recorded some content for the course. It's coming up in a later section, but I do a real world project and I show you how to use dependency tree to resolve artifact conflicts or dependency conflicts. And here, this is creating a dependency report. So here's my project, my root project. We don't have a lot going on here in this project. We will be looking at some much more complex projects, but we can see that I brought in Commons Lang and then also Jackson. That is being brought in. And here, these two top level projects, these are declared in the POM of my hello world. But the Jackson, even though I only declared that at the top level, he's bringing in he's bringing in annotations and core. So I get Jackson data bind here on this line, but he's got transitive dependency, so he's bringing these in. So the Maven dependency tree command is a very important one. And then we also have the Maven help effective POM. And remember, we talked about how the Maven POM will inherit not only from any parent POM that it has, but also the Maven environment. So this will show you what that effective POM is. So also another very important command to remember. And most of these commands are listed on the cheat sheet that we showed at the beginning of the video. Now, coming up in the course, we will be looking at more command lines interaction. This is a good summary of where we're at in the course right now of commands that we've learned so far with Maven, but there are additional commands, especially once we get to a multi-module project and Maven profiles. We will be covering additional Maven commands and expanding upon our knowledge of Maven from the command line.